Ladies and gentlemen, cultivating your own identity is one of the most powerful things a woman can do, not just for herself, but for any relationship she enters. It is about knowing who you are outside of your role as a partner, mother, friend, or daughter. It's about anchoring your sense of self in your values, your passions, and your personal goals. When a woman brings a strong identity into a relationship, she offers more than companionship. She offers depth, inspiration, and a powerful presence that cannot be easily replaced. In many relationships, there's a tendency to merge so deeply with a partner that individuality begins to blur. While closeness and connection are essential, losing your unique sense of self can actually weaken the bond rather than strengthen it. A woman who has her own interests, pursuits, and ambitions becomes someone who enriches the relationship from a place of abundance. She's not looking to be completed by another person. She's already whole and invites her partner into that fullness. That self-assuredness is deeply attractive, and it fosters a dynamic of mutual respect. This process begins with self-awareness. It's important to spend time alone, reflect on your experiences, and understand what drives you, what brings you joy, what you stand for, and what you want out of life. It's easy to adopt beliefs and behaviors that mirror those of people around you, especially when you're in love. But the woman who takes the time to define herself, independent of external influence, becomes a rare and compelling presence. She doesn't just follow trends or echo her partner's ideas to keep peace. She speaks from a place of knowing herself, which commands respect and admiration. A strong identity also provides emotional stability. Life and love can be unpredictable. There will be moments when disagreements arise, when distance grows, or when external pressures put strain on the relationship. A woman who is grounded in her identity doesn't lose herself in these moments. She remains centered, not because she is detached, but because she has internal resources to draw from, her own sense of purpose, confidence, and vision. This makes her not only dependable, but also admirable in times of uncertainty. Moreover, cultivating your identity allows you to contribute uniquely to the relationship. Instead of being someone who simply reacts or adapts to her partner's world, she brings her own world to the table, her own stories, ideas, insights, and dreams. This creates a relationship that is truly collaborative rather than codependent. A man who experiences this will understand that what he has is not easily replicated. There's a richness and individuality in the woman he's with that cannot be substituted. Ultimately, when a woman invests in her growth, guards her values, and lives with intention, she becomes irreplaceable, not because she tries to be, but because she naturally stands apart. Her presence becomes a rare combination of strength and authenticity, one that cannot be manufactured or mimicked, only recognized and deeply valued. Nurturing emotional intelligence is one of the most vital and transformative aspects of becoming an irreplaceable presence in a relationship. Emotional intelligence is not about controlling your emotions or always appearing calm. Rather, it's about being aware of your feelings, understanding where they come from, and responding to situations with clarity, empathy, and intention. A woman who has cultivated this inner skill becomes someone who not only navigates her own emotional world with grace, but also deeply understands and connects with the emotional experiences of her partner. At the heart of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. When a woman understands her own emotional patterns, she becomes less reactive and more reflective. Instead of immediately lashing out when hurt or withdrawing when disappointed, she is able to pause, assess what she's feeling, and communicate it in a way that invites connection rather than conflict. This level of emotional responsibility fosters a safe space for open dialogue, where vulnerability isn't punished but respected. It builds trust, because her partner knows he's engaging with someone who isn't just ruled by passing moods, but someone who's thoughtful and grounded even in emotional moments. Empathy is another cornerstone of emotional intelligence. It allows a woman to step outside of her own perspective and truly consider what her partner is experiencing. This doesn't mean always agreeing or excusing bad behavior, but rather being willing to see the situation through his lens. Empathy strengthens the emotional bond because it says, I see you, I hear you, and I care enough to try to understand you. It transforms conversations from confrontational to collaborative, turning challenges into opportunities for greater intimacy. Equally important is the ability to manage and express emotions in a constructive way. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means expressing needs, desires, and frustrations clearly and respectfully. A woman with high emotional intelligence doesn't rely on manipulation, silent treatment, or passive aggression. Instead, she communicates directly, but with kindness. This emotional honesty invites her partner to do the same, creating a space where both individuals feel free to be their true selves. Furthermore, emotionally intelligent women know how to set healthy boundaries without guilt. They understand that boundaries are not about pushing others away, but about protecting their emotional well-being. This clarity adds to their sense of self-respect, which in turn commands respect from others. A man in a relationship with a woman who knows how to say no with grace, who protects her peace, and who respects herself emotionally is unlikely to take her for granted. In moments of conflict or misunderstanding, emotional intelligence is the bridge back to connection. It allows a woman to listen without needing to defend, to speak without needing to win, and to resolve issues without damaging the relationship. She becomes a source of emotional stability, someone who calms rather than escalates, who heals rather than harms. That kind of emotional presence is rare, and when a man experiences it, he knows it's something he cannot afford to lose. Supporting a man's growth without losing yourself is a delicate balance, but it's one of the most powerful dynamics a woman can cultivate in a relationship. It means standing beside him as he pursues his goals, overcomes challenges, and evolves, while never abandoning your own path, dreams, or sense of identity. Too often, women are conditioned to equate love with sacrifice. They pour endlessly into a man's vision while their own aspirations quietly fade into the background. But true support is not about self-erasure. It's about partnership rooted in mutual respect and personal integrity. A woman who supports her partner's growth, sees his potential, and genuinely wants to see him succeed. She offers encouragement, insight, and emotional presence, and she challenges him when needed, not from a place of criticism, but from a place of belief in what he's capable of becoming. Her support is not passive, it's intentional. She listens without judgment, celebrates his victories, and offers strength during setbacks. This makes her not just a partner, but a source of energy and motivation that pushes him forward. But the key to this kind of support is maintaining a strong sense of self in the process. It's easy to become so invested in someone else's journey that your own priorities start to dim. A woman who is truly irreplaceable never abandons her own growth while encouraging his. She continues developing her skills, nurturing her passions, and pursuing her own goals. This not only keeps her grounded, but it also strengthens the relationship. A man who sees his partner thriving becomes more inspired, not intimidated, and the relationship evolves into a place of mutual empowerment rather than quiet resentment. Maintaining your identity also protects you from emotional burnout. When your sense of value is tied only to how helpful or available you are to your partner, it creates a dynamic where your needs are sidelined. Over time, this can breed imbalance and emotional exhaustion. A woman who knows how to support without overextending preserves her energy and avoids falling into patterns of overfunctioning or self-neglect. She knows when to give, when to step back, and when to say, I need time for me. And by doing so, she teaches her partner to value and protect her well-being too. This balance also establishes healthy boundaries, which are essential in any mature relationship. Supporting his growth doesn't mean fixing his problems, making excuses for his mistakes, or carrying his emotional burdens. It means walking beside him, not ahead, not behind, with mutual respect for each other's responsibilities. She offers guidance and love, but she also allows him to struggle, to learn, and to own his path. In doing so, she respects his masculinity and autonomy, while also honoring her own feminine strength and wisdom. Ultimately, A woman who supports a man's growth while continuing to evolve herself becomes someone he deeply values. Her presence is steady, her energy is whole, and her love is not dependent on being needed, but on being chosen. That kind of woman is not a background character in his life. She's a co-architect of a shared future. And in a world where so many give themselves away to be loved, the woman who loves without losing herself is unforgettable. Staying resilient and adaptable is a quiet strength that often goes unnoticed until life demands it. In any long-term relationship, challenges are not a matter of if but when. The ability to stay emotionally grounded through those trials while adjusting with grace is what sets a woman apart in the eyes of a man. It is not about being perfect or always knowing what to do, but about having the inner strength to face uncertainty, pain, or change without letting it define or diminish you. A resilient woman can bend without breaking and evolve without losing the core of who she is. That ability is both rare and deeply respected. Resilience starts with self-trust. When a woman trusts her ability to navigate difficult situations, she does not become overwhelmed by fear or self-doubt when something goes wrong. She faces disappointments, arguments, and even heartbreak with clarity, refusing to collapse under pressure. This inner strength is not hard or cold. It is calm, composed, and quietly determined. She does not fall apart at the first sign of struggle, and because of that, her presence becomes a source of stability in the relationship. A man finds peace and confidence in knowing that the woman beside him is someone who can stand in the storm without losing her grounding. Adaptability, on the other hand, is the willingness to evolve, to stay open, and to shift when life demands something new. This doesn't mean abandoning your values or changing who you are to fit someone else's expectations. It means being willing to grow, to let go of rigid expectations, and to meet life as it is rather than how you wish it would be. In a relationship, this could look like learning to communicate in new ways, adjusting to unexpected changes in career or family, or facing difficult seasons without bitterness or blame. The woman who is adaptable understands that love is not static. People grow, circumstances change, and the ability to move with those changes instead of resisting them makes her not only wise but indispensable. Together, resilience and adaptability create a woman who doesn't panic when things fall apart. She reflects, regroups, and responds. She knows how to pick herself up and keep moving forward, and she brings that energy into her relationship. She becomes someone her partner relies on, not because she's always cheerful or endlessly optimistic, but because she brings a deep sense of emotional steadiness. She doesn't need to be rescued, and she doesn't fall into the trap of waiting for everything to be perfect before she participates fully in life or love. Men recognize and value this deeply, often more than they can articulate. When a woman demonstrates resilience and adaptability, she proves that she can not only enjoy the good times but endure and grow through the hard ones. She becomes a partner who doesn't just share success, but also walks through failure with grace. In a world where so many people fold under pressure or cling to control, the woman who remains steady and flexible becomes the one he knows he can count on, and that kind of presence is not easily forgotten. Fostering deep, meaningful conversations is one of the most underrated yet powerful ways to build a lasting emotional bond in a relationship. Surface-level talk may create momentary connection, but it's in the conversations that touch on values, dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities where intimacy truly grows. A woman who invites and sustains this kind of dialogue becomes more than just a romantic partner. She becomes a confidante, a sounding board, and someone with whom a man feels truly seen and understood. It is not about having all the answers or always agreeing, but about creating a space where both people can be real, honest, and fully human without judgment. A woman who can initiate and hold space for these deeper conversations signals emotional maturity and a genuine interest in her partner's inner world. She listens actively, not waiting to speak, but fully absorbing what is being said. She asks thoughtful questions that go beyond "How was your day?" and encourages him to explore his thoughts and emotions. This makes her rare, not because deep conversation is inherently difficult, but because so few people are taught how to engage with that level of emotional presence. When a man feels that he can talk about his hopes, his fears, his failures, or his past without fear of criticism or emotional withdrawal, he experiences something profoundly connecting. These types of conversations also allow for mutual growth. As ideas are exchanged, perspectives are challenged, and beliefs are explored, the relationship becomes a space of learning and evolution rather than stagnation. The woman who brings curiosity rather than judgment into these moments allows the man to reveal layers of himself that he may rarely show others. This mutual discovery strengthens trust. It shows him that she is not only interested in who he appears to be, but in who he really is beneath the surface. And in a world that often demands emotional performance and masks, that kind of acceptance feels both rare and liberating. Deep conversation also provides a foundation for problem solving during difficult times. When the relationship is grounded in honest dialogue, misunderstandings are more easily cleared up, and conflict becomes less about winning and more about understanding. The woman who can articulate her needs, express her emotions with clarity, and invite the same from her partner cultivates a sense of emotional safety that is hard to replace. She becomes a mirror through which he can see himself more clearly, and a partner who encourages reflection rather than reaction. What makes this quality so impactful is that it doesn't fade with time. Physical attraction and excitement may evolve, but the ability to talk deeply with someone you trust only becomes more valuable as life becomes more complex. A woman who invests in meaningful communication becomes a cornerstone in a man's emotional life. She becomes the person he turns to when the world is too loud, too shallow, or too demanding. And when he finds that depth and safety in her presence, he comes to understand that what he has with her is not something he can easily find elsewhere, or let go of lightly. Embodying unconditional love and acceptance is one of the most profound ways a woman can create a bond that becomes truly irreplaceable. It is not about ignoring flaws or tolerating harmful behavior, but rather about seeing a partner's humanity and loving him through both his strengths and his imperfections. This kind of love offers a deep emotional sanctuary, a place where a man can let down his guard, stop performing, and simply be himself without fear of being judged or rejected. In a world where so many people feel they have to earn love by being impressive or successful, unconditional acceptance becomes a rare and healing gift. A woman who loves in this way understands that people are works in progress. She doesn't place her partner on a pedestal, nor does she tear him down when he falls short. Instead, she sees the full picture of who he is, his potential, his wounds, his ambitions, and his missteps, and chooses to walk beside him as he grows. She offers her presence not as a reward for perfection, but as a consistent expression of loyalty and care. This kind of love creates emotional stability because it doesn't disappear when things get hard. It endures through setbacks, confusion, and vulnerability. And when a man experiences this, it changes him. It softens his defenses, strengthens his trust, and deepens his commitment to the relationship. Unconditional love does not mean passivity. It involves holding space for growth while also setting boundaries and communicating needs. A woman who loves unconditionally can say, "I accept you, but I also expect mutual respect, honesty, and effort." Her acceptance isn't blind, it's wise. She doesn't excuse bad behavior, but she understands that real transformation happens in an environment of love, not shame. Her support becomes a catalyst for growth, not because she demands change, but because she believes in it and nurtures it patiently. This quality also allows her to offer genuine forgiveness. In every long-term relationship, mistakes will be made. Harsh words may be spoken, wrong choices may be taken, and moments of weakness will show up. A woman who embodies unconditional love doesn't keep score or weaponize the past. She understands that healing is a process, and she chooses connection over control. Her forgiveness is not naive, it's mature. She knows the difference between a moment of failure and a pattern of harm. And in those moments when her partner feels most unworthy, she becomes a reminder of his worth. When a man feels truly accepted, not just when he's successful, charming, or in control, but when he's struggling, unsure, or afraid, he bonds in a way that is nearly impossible to replicate. That level of emotional intimacy is not found easily, and once it's experienced, it's not easily forgotten. A woman who embodies this kind of love becomes the emotional home he returns to over and over, not because she demands it, but because the depth of connection she offers makes her the one he knows he can't afford to lose.